We start our Friday with a Fox News alert. New information on key advice President Obama apparently got from a top military advisor on the Bergdahl negotiations and why he opted to not follow it. And remember when Democrats said that Obamacare would help lower the country's $17 trillion debt? Well, a new report from the CBO says that's not only false, but that costs will actually rise. Hi, everyone. I'm Gretchen Carlson. And for the first time ever on The Real Story, I'm going to have a summer sidekick here. They'll be chiming in with wit and wisdom and whatever else. So today, my sidekick will be Charles Payne. Great to see you, Charles.
Thanks a lot.
Of course, he's the host of the new FBN show, Making Money with Charles Payne. So glad you could be here for the inaugural run.
I'm so honored. Thanks a lot. And look, we were simpatico a little bit with the shirt and dress.
Yeah, hashtag fashion.
There you go.
All right, you don't mind if you're going to be called summer sidekick for the rest of the day?
Oh, man, that's one of the best titles I've ever had.
All right, well, we're going to look forward to it. Let's get back to the news just for a minute, because we have new fallout now over the release of Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. A very senior Defense Department official now tells Fox News that a military official advised President Obama not to make that exchange of 5 Taliban operatives for Bergdahl, calling it, quote, like handing over 5 four-star generals of the Taliban, end quote. Meantime, on Capitol Hill, lawmakers continue to say that the White House broke the law by failing to notify them. And now one senior member of the Senate Intelligence Committee blasting a report that the Taliban threatened to kill Bergdahl if anyone leaked word of the swap. Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel has his hands full with all this new information, and he's live in Washington. Hi, Mike.
Well, hi, Gretchen. A number of lawmakers have called out the Obama administration for shifting arguments to justify their action. And some are calling absurd the suggestion that top national security lawmakers would share information with an American's life on the line.
I don't know of anybody among the folks who historically have been given classified information that would leak anything. We all get classified information daily.
Do you think
you don't see leaks coming out of us.
A very senior defense official tells Fox's Jim Angle that senior military officials recommended to the president that he not make the trade, calling it like handing over 5 four-star generals of the Taliban. Another prominent lawmaker says the White House knew if they told Congress, there would have been bipartisan opposition to the proposed deal.
I also believe that the White House did not want to hear those kinds of objections, and that is the true reason that it did not consult before the exchange was made.
Sources say intelligence showed that Sergeant Bergdahl was not as much a prisoner as thought, that he was often able to move around freely, and that he was, quote, wandering around. Today, the president's national security advisor cautioned against a rush to judgment.
This is a young man whose circumstances we are still going to learn about. He is, as all Americans, innocent until proven guilty. He's now being tried in the court of public opinion after having gone through an enormously traumatic 5 years of captivity.
Rice herself took some heat for saying last Sunday that Bergdahl served with honor and distinction. Some lawmakers then accused her of pushing a false narrative again. Gretchen?
Mike Emanuel, thanks much. So President Obama's decision to negotiate with the Taliban for Bergdahl's release riling some Democrats, too, on Capitol Hill. But what impact could the prisoner swap have on a possible Hillary Clinton presidential run? In her upcoming book, the former Secretary of State had this to say about working with the Taliban, quote, I acknowledged, as I had many times before, that opening the door to negotiations with the Taliban would be hard to swallow for many Americans after so many years of war. Joining me now, Alan Colmes, host of the Alan Colmes Radio Show and a Fox News contributor, and Mike Gallagher, a syndicated radio host and also a Fox News contributor. All right, so that's what Hillary Clinton is going to say in her upcoming book, that it'd be hard for Americans to swallow this. So, Alan, she came out kind of in favor of it about a week ago, so which one is it?
I don't know. I don't speak for her, but I think in her book she was positioning herself clearly as a moderate and clearly looking to position herself as a moderate. I had Morris Davis, who was former chief prosecutor at Gitmo, on my radio show last night. He made a very important point. We're going to have to release these prisoners at the end of the year, likely because of the end of the war. The fact that we got something for 5 of them is actually a good thing.
She knew politically when she wrote the book how difficult this would be for Americans to stomach. But she, as you said, in Denver, she doubled doubled down and she defended it. So the fact is, Democrats are playing right into the narrative that this is going to be a really, really tough issue for them to overcome in November. Congratulations, Susan Rice. You now, by doubling down, you've given every Republican candidate a campaign talking point. And if Democrats don't run from this, they're going to pay the price.
But it's not just Susan Rice. It's President Obama, who overseas has continued to double down on this as well and has said no apologies. But speaking of Susan Rice, I want you to listen to something else that she said earlier today about her terminology that she used originally about Bo Bergdahl. Listen to this.
I realize there's been a lot of discussion and controversy around this, but what I was referring to is the fact that this was a young man who volunteered to serve his country in uniform at a time of war. That is itself a very honorable thing. But honor and distinction. Jim, really, I mean, this is a young man whose circumstances we are still going to learn about.
All right, so we're talking about the definition of honor and distinction.
Yeah. He ain't it.
Well, Alan,
I find this rush to trash him and his family disgusting.
No, this is not about
really
trashing
despicable.
him. This is about her choice of words, honor and distinction, and now backtracking and saying that she meant that meant to volunteer for the military is honorable and you serve with distinction. Different.
It is different, and I agree that his intentions were good. He wanted to go help the Afghani people. He got to war, and maybe he wasn't prepared emotionally for it. We don't know that he didn't go crazy, have PTSD, have emotional issues. Well, and I think, can I just finish? This attempt to trash him and trash his father and trash his family is really despicable.
We are not trashing him on the show. We're debating what happened.
Mike, we don't know what happened. As usual, Alan's on the defense, so he's got to take the offense. No, there's no trashing here. There was trashing of the United States by Bo Bergdahl, apparently, in those emails he wrote to his parents. If it's true, and listen, if the narrative is true, Alan, that he is a deserter, would you call, if it is true, but if it is proven true, if it is, would you then call him on, as having served with honor and distinction?
Not if he's a deserter, but we don't know.
We don't know, but we're going to find out. I guarantee you that. Alan and Mike, have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you.